Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome everybody back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and this video is going to be the ultimate Easter egg guide for Blood of the Dead. Now, this is going to be a solo guide. All of the steps are the same if you're playing co-op, so you can use this either or, but if you're clicking on this video, you're most likely looking for a guide to be optimized just to be playing this alone. But let me make a quick little disclaimer before we get into all of this. This is the most challenging Easter egg to do on solo in the Call of Duty Zombies history, and I will say that with confidence. So if you're not really feeling like you're able to handle this by yourself, I recommend running this with teammates as it gets significantly easier. But if you want to take this on by yourself, it is possible. However, it is no easy feat. But regardless, I am going to show you how to do every single step solo and how to get them done relatively easy. So if you guys end up enjoying the video, or if it helps at all, I would really appreciate a like rating, as I worked extremely hard on this guide, making it for people who maybe don't necessarily want to find teammates. However, if that's not you, and if you do want to find teammates, I recommend you join my Discord server. It's a great community that will be linked inside of the description, and you can go over there and find some teammates to complete this map. Also, if you are brand new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me, as we are getting so close to 200,000 subs, and I'll be having more zombies content just like this. So I might put out a couple more solo guides, maybe for future maps, or anything you guys really want to see, you can let me know. But stick around for all things zombies on this channel. But ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. It's going to be a ride. We are going to learn how to complete this map on solo. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Before we start tackling the Easter egg, we need to go over the basics really quick and sort of help your setup. Now, the things I'm only going to recommend that you bring into the game, there's just a few crucial things that I would go with. As far as the elixirs, I would definitely take Aftertaste, Temporal Gift, anywhere but here. And then your final one can be anything like the Control Z elixir. There's an insta-kill elixir, as well as Undead Man Walking. These can be really useful on some of the later steps. These are kind of important, so I would try to run these in particular. For the specialist, I would probably take either the Katana or Ragnaroks. I usually run Katana because that's what I'm the most comfortable with, but I've also seen it be completed with the Ragnaroks as well, but it's up to your preference at the end of the day. When it comes to perks, I'm going to recommend the Holy Trinity, Quick Revive, Stamina Up, and Dying Wish, and then your fourth can be really switched out by anything like Electric Cherry, which I like. Some people also run Bandolier. Either way, I would run those three absolutely, and you can pick whatever you want for the final slot. Now, this is also assuming that you know the basic layout of Blood of the Dead. If you don't, I have an ultimate guide on my channel which will show you all of the basics of turning on the power, getting the shield, and doing very easy things in this map. But assuming you know the basics, then we can go ahead and tackle the more complicated stuff. Now, starting this Easter egg is a little bit different than every other map. You really can't do anything before round 17, which is, I guess, the start of the entire quest. But in everything from 1 to 17, your only goal is to get completely set up with everything that you need for the rest of this egg. So this involves getting things like the Hell's Retriever, which is very easy. You know, you just feed all the dogs. Also getting the spoon from the net. Now, this is contrary to popular belief. You don't need the Redeemer, nor do you need the Golden Spork. They are options if you do choose to go and obtain them. They aren't completely necessary, so I would say, at least for a solo run, just go with the bare minimum. Just a spoon and a Retriever will do you just fine. You should also be focused on getting your perks and also upgrading your specialist weapon. The first step in this Easter egg is just opening Pack-a-Punch and sort of turning on that generator. That will turn the next step to Shock and Denial, which you cannot even physically progress until past 17. So you basically have like this kind of comfort zone here to where you can't screw anything up, and you can't also work on anything until that round. So just kind of worry about getting yourself up before you start worrying about the rest of the Easter egg. Now, something that is absolutely required, in my opinion, is upgrading the shield, and it's really easy. The way you do this is just hit the mystery box until it's going to move and you get the lock. You shock it for a couple seconds until the light in the middle turns blue, and then you throw a tomahawk at it. This is going to attune your shield. It can hold up to 4 shield blasts, which is going to be very useful and basically necessary in all of the later steps. You're also going to make sure that you do the Magma Gat at some point, probably as early as possible. Anywhere from rounds 11 to 12 is typically when I like to do mine, and the reason why you need this is because it's an essential part of your weapon setup. What I like to run for the solo Easter egg is the Mog 12 along with the Magma Gat. These are very high DPS weapons that you can use during all of the challenges, and they're going to be very useful in this. The Acid Gat it's good in its own right, but not for the things that we're going to be doing later in this quest. So just keep that in mind. Get the Magma Gat done as early as possible. It's pretty easy to do, and then you're good to go with that. Now, when you're all set up and round 17 rolls around, here's where you have a decision to make. On my game, it ended up being a dog round, but yours might not be. And also, if you get a natural Brutus that just spawns in during the round, then you don't need to do what I'm doing. But if you don't, just in worst case scenario, go up to the keypad inside of the Citadel and type in the numbers 666. This is going to give you a Brutus spawned in, and he's going to be able to do a slam attack that can only be done from 17 plus. Keep in mind some important information that you can only spawn one Brutus per game using this method. Now, if you end up screwing this one up, you're going to have to wait until the game gives you another Brutus, which could take, 5 to 6 rounds. So be very, very careful. But when you bring him up to the warden's house, you're going to want to go up the stairs to the left, and across from the barrier is going to be a wall, which you'll need to melee with your spoon to put on scratch marks. Now, in my game, I already put the scratch marks there, but you want to bring the warden up to the top of this staircase, and then he'll do his electric slam attack, opening a secret room. Enter the secret room and interact with the warden all the way in the back of his chair, and also pick up the red orb that is sitting on the table behind him right here. Now what you're going to do is go back to spawn and take the red orb and place it in the map inside of the spawner on the left side here. It will enter into the paper and then interact with the Chronorium, which should be now glowing on the floor. Your screen will flash white, the Chronorium will raise up, and then you should see a blue spectral bird spawn in. The bird is going to take away the Chronorium and fly it into the prison. Now, this bird is actually Albert Arlington from Mob of the Dead, if you remember him. That's a little bit later on in the story, but Al is going to take the Chronorium and fly it into the prison, and what your job is to do is to peek through your shield to listen and find for this bird. So here, for example, I found him in the library, I heard him chirping, and then you want to give him a shield blast and you'll fly away. Now, once you found him in that round, you'll need to flip it to do and find the next one. Now, the tricky part is, the catch is this bird can be literally anywhere on the map. That includes even the recreation yard, the catwalk, all the way back at the spawn room as well. Now, a couple pointers that you can do to help yourself out is every time you enter a room or a new section of the map, just quickly peek through your shield and give it a listen. If you hear the bird, then he's probably in the very close vicinity. If he's not, move on. Clear all sections of the map in your mind, and then eventually you will find him. It's actually a lot less hard than it sounds once you sort of get the hang of it. There's a lot of spawns it can be, but if you use these fundamentals about listening for the bird and just quickly peeking through your shield to like listen for the chirp, then you should be just fine. Also, on this step, I'm going to recommend, if you're not already playing with a headset or some headphones, please do for this one, as the 3D audio will make it much easier to find the bird, like significantly easier. It will give you a clear direction and a clear vicinity about where this bird is going to be located. If at any point you're just really struggling on this and you cannot find it, I'll have a link to the thread inside of the description that will have all of the known bird locations. But I honestly think that if you have headphones, you shouldn't have any problem locating this thing. But basically, you want to do the same thing for 3 birds. Find it, blast it with the shield, flip the round, and repeat. And on your 4th bird, after you've already blasted 3 out of their locations, the 4th one you will not be able to see, but you'll be able to hear. But you'll want to do something different with it. Now, you want to take that audio cue and get a general direction of where it is. You'll also know that you're doing this step right is if you're aiming at where you think that the chirping is coming from and you hear some crying coming from a person. Now, this is how you know you're doing this correctly. What you'll want to do from here is spawn in yourself a zombie blood on the keypad here. And you do this by typing in 872, pick up the zombie blood and take it over to that location where you hear the bird and hear that man crying. Now, when you find that location, you want to quickly peek through your shield where you'll only be able to see the bird like this, and then throw your tomahawk at it. This step is a little finicky, so you might have to give it a couple of tries, but just quickly peek through your shield to where the bird becomes visible and throw your tomahawk at sort of the base of it, because you're aiming for a red orb by its feet, which is actually the release for the Chronorium. And once you've successfully acquired the Chronorium, that step is done, and you can take this back to the warden's house and you're good to go. Now, from this point forward, you're going to remember to go back to here every single time you do a new challenge, because this is where you'll begin your trials, and this is where you have to always go back to get a new one. Place your Chronorium on the warden's lap, and then after a couple seconds, you're going to be allowed to flip through it by holding square. The pages are going to flip around and then stop on a number. You'll need to peek through your shield to get yourself a code, and this will change every single time. Now, take that code into the keypad as you always have been at this game, and it is going to give you one of your challenges or one of your trials that are going to be in any order in your game. So in my game, we're starting out here with with the docks, and I'm going to go ahead and explain how to do this step on solo and the best ways to get it done. Now take yourself down to the docks where you should see the lighthouse light pointing over here, and you'll see a portal inside of the light which you can materialize by giving it a nice shield blast, and it will be fully spawned into your world and your challenge will begin. Now this challenge is actually sort of a two-parter, and the first thing you'll need to do is go over to the warden's office inside of the cell where you can start typing in some Morse code on a machine. Now you'll need to just kind of trial and error this using dots and dashes, a dot being a small little click and then a dash being holding down the button for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds. Now the kicker to this, the tough part, is that you cannot leave the room without your code resetting. It'll be the same code in every single game, so don't worry, but what I recommend you do, the easiest way to do it, is just go straight into the cell without using any resources, no zombie blood or anything like that, and just start typing and see how far you can get with your dots and dashes. You should be able to get maybe 3 to 4 symbols, and then call in your zombie blood. You can spawn one in using temporal gift, or you can use the in plain sight from your katana to buy yourself some more time. But you're gonna basically brute force this Morse code symbol. It could be anywhere from 4 to 17 characters, and my game, it got pretty lucky. It was only about 6, so I got lucky on that. But once you type in your full Morse code, you'll get a quote from your character saying that it's complete. Now from here, you're gonna want to go into the infirmary and kill a zombie somewhere inside of this room. Now once you do that, another ghost will spawn, and you're basically helping this soul escape the prison. Now you'll want to give him a shield blast to activate him, hold square, and then he should be following you. He'll be fully tracked. Now from this point, you'll need to feed him souls sort of as energy or fuel for him to walk and follow you towards the portal where a ghost boat will be waiting for him where you spawned him in. So basically what I like to do is just use my magma gat to get as many kills as I can around him to get him to follow me. It honestly doesn't take that many kills to get him going, but he's a little bit of a slower lad, but he's still a good lad. But you'll get him over to the gondola and then take him down all the way to the bottom where you're going to be dropped off. Take him down the stairs where near your portal was on the docks, and you'll just strictly lead him to the portal, right? Just defend yourself. You don't even need to worry about him at this point because the zombies cannot damage him at all. Just make sure that you're good. Keep feeding him souls every, once in a while. You'll be able to naturally feed him just by the kills you're getting, but bring him into the portal, and this is a very important piece. Do not forget this for any challenge. This goes for this and the rest of them. After you complete a challenge successfully, a red orb is going to drop in the completion spot where you got it. So for my game, it dropped where the soul was, and it's going to be this red kind of glowing orb on the ground. Pick that up, and again, that will go in the map where you put the first one in from the warden's table over at spawn. And once you've successfully done that, you can go back to the warden's office and get another code from the book. And another thing I should probably mention, if you fail one of the challenges, the portal will disappear and you'll have to flip the round to get a new challenge. Now the next challenge that you could possibly have is the Simon Says. This will be if the lighthouse is pointing to the first power room outside of spawn, and if you have that one, activate the portal and then head over to the second power room that's near the docks, and then go to the back of the room to activate this second engine that's sort of in the back corner here. Now the room will go dark once you've done this right, and you'll see that these generators will have a light that will turn on one of them. This is a Simon Says game that you'll need to follow along. So for this one, it will give you one light, and then you'll need to repeat it by holding square on that generator. You'll need to repeat this up to 5 times, and if you get all 5 in a row, then you will be rewarded with 3 codes that will be slips of paper on the generators that the light is pointing at. So basically, after the game's complete, the room will stay dark, but 3 generators will stay lit up in order for you to walk over to them and then write down the symbol, the slip of paper that will be on the bottom of it, and take note of the 3 that light up, and then write down those corresponding symbols as well. I recommend you either take a picture or something like that. So for example, all of the possible symbols that you can find in this first room are going to look like this. They're sort of these logic gates. These are the symbols that you can be rewarded with, and make sure that you absolutely are certain which ones that you write down or take pictures of, because they look very similar and it's easy to get them confused. But once you complete the Simon Says game and you are for sure on these symbols, you have them written down, pick up the punch card that is now going to be inside of the room on a shelf, and then take that over to spawn. Place that punch card inside of this computer at spawn, and what you're going to see is the monitors inside of the room are going to light up with the exact symbols that you got from the power station. Now what your job is to do is to take the 3 that you got and then match them up with the computer, and once you found a match, you can hold square on them to flick between a different symbol, and the different symbol is something called Hobo Code. Now the meaning of the symbols in Hobo Code isn't really important. The only thing you need to worry about is the ones that are corresponding with the symbols that you were rewarded from after completing the Simon Says game. So once you're able to locate all 3 and you have the 3 different Hobo Codes that correspond correspond with the logic gates that you got from the power room. Go inside of the first power that's right outside of spawn, and you're going to see a little ghost lad trying to pull all of the levers. And what your job is to do is to shock him or shield blast him while he's about to pull the lever onto the one that you need. So the symbol that's right below the lever in Hobo Code that corresponds with the ones that you got from the power are going to be the ones that when he's over, you shield blast him. A good tip you should know to make sure that he does pull the right lever is to shield blast him while he's sort of transitioning or heading over to the one that you need. If you get it while he's on the lever, it may be a little bit too late. So during that little transition phase is the optimal time. Now, once you complete it and you flipped all 3 levers that you need, you should be rewarded with yet another red orb. And again, you can put that code in the map right now, or you can hold on to it. It doesn't really matter at this point. Just make sure you go back to the Conorium to get another code and begin your next challenge. Now, the next challenge that you can have is the shower challenge with the banjo guy. This is the most fun in my opinion, or one of the most fun. It's the easiest as well, but also the easiest to screw up, so keep that in mind. Now, what's going to happen is that this guy is going to come out of the wall with his banjo. He's going to be playing a little bit of a tune. Give him a couple seconds to tune it and get it ready, and then eventually you'll be able to hold square to activate him, and then make sure you hold square again to take the banjo, or else you might be doing this step and it won't be working. Once you have the banjo, you'll know because he'll no longer be holding it. It will be on your back, but since you're probably in a solo game, you won't be able to see it. You'll know you're doing this step right when you're getting kills and souls are collecting into this blue ring of fire here. Now, also keep in mind that if you have the banjo on your person, this even goes for co-op games, not just for solo, but if you got the banjo on your person and you stay outside of this circle for too long, you're going to begin to take damage. It'll tick 10 at a time, so you'll die really fast if you're not being careful. Make sure that the circle is spawned in and you're inside it at all times, and your job is to just get kills and collect souls while you're in it. Now, also be careful because I screwed this up in my game the first time. I gave him back the banjo too early before enough souls were collected. You'll know when you're done when the circle fully disappears and you get a quote from your character signaling that it's done, and you can go ahead and give the banjo back to him. But in case you do this and that event, you can pick it back up and I bring it back to my circle in my game. It's also useful to know that you cannot leave the room while you're doing this challenge except through the shower warden's gate, right? The fast travel you can actually still use, but you won't be able to exit through any of the doors, so it can get a little bit intense. Have your specialists ready, have maybe some perks on deck, as well as your elixirs. Anything you need to do to survive, make sure you get it done. Once you collect enough souls though, you should be able to run it back to the guy to bring him his banjo. Insta kills work amazing for this, so if anybody has an elixir, you can literally get it done in seconds if done right. Bring back the banjo to him, he'll accept it, and also keep in mind that he'll play his tune for a couple more seconds, so even after the challenge is done, it's not quite done. Once you've completed that, once again, you'll get another red orb, and you can go ahead and move on to the next challenge as well. The next challenge you can have is kind of a hidden one, right? You have to find the portal. It's just outside of the warden's office on Michigan Avenue. Shoot that with your shield blast. The challenge will begin, and then kill a zombie inside of the cafeteria. And once you do that, a ghost will spawn. You'll want to shield blast him as well to start and begin the challenge. Now, what your job is to do is this is an escort mission, but not in the same way as the last escort that we did during the docks challenge. This one, the ghost can actually take damage from the zombies, and what you need to do is protect him going to the portal that's on Michigan Avenue on his way there. So zombies are going to be spilling out of the barriers. They're going to be very fast and aggressive, increase spawns from what they normally should be. And what I recommend you do here is just shoot your magma gat on either side of him to protect him. Now, also some helpful information. Don't be afraid to shoot the magma gat very close to yourself, and even to a point where you're standing it and taking damage, because it looks like you're taking a lot of damage from when you're standing in the lava, but trust me, you're really not. It only takes 1 damage per tick, but it looks like you're taking like 50, right? Because your screen flashes really bright red. But don't worry about it. It honestly takes a long time for you to down yourself with the magma gat, so don't worry about standing in it. You can shoot it very close to your person. And also, you have your specialist weapon. I recommend using this on the final stretch when he actually hits Michigan Avenue to bring in, because a warden will spawn as soon as he sort of touches this area as well, and you're going to want to have your specialist for that. But once you run out, finish it off with whatever weapons you have, preferably your magma gat. And when the zombie makes it to the portal, the ghost makes it finally into it, then he should drop you another red orb, and then you're good to go with that challenge. This is honestly probably my favorite out of all of them. It's the most fun. It's really not too hard at all. It looks way more difficult than it really is, so I wouldn't stress too much about this. Just get it done, and you can move on with the final challenge. And so for the last one, this is going to be the new industries challenge. Now, this is what I imagine most of you guys are here to see and how to do. This will be the most difficult one that you'll have to face while doing this Easter egg, hands down, no matter what. Even if you're playing with a team or running it solo, either way, it's going to be very, very tricky. They scaled it to where, like, in a way, it's not proportionate for solo. The difficulty doesn't make a lot of sense. It's optimal in 3-player, it feels like. So, you know, 2 players could be on the ghost while 1 player holds zombies. That's typically how it's best ran, but if you're doing this by yourself, then you have a few options to consider. Now, if you have a full shield going into a dog round, this is probably the best you can do. You can try that because the dogs will be able to provide the rest of the charge that you'll need during this path. However, if you want to do this at the end of a zombie round, which I tend to do and what I'm doing in this gameplay, that works perfectly fine as well. So the way this works is once you begin the challenge, you'll begin your shield key, and once you shield blast this guy inside of the library, he'll spawn in for a couple of seconds where he'll be vulnerable to where you can shock him with your key. Now, this window only lasts for about 7 seconds or so, and it's imperative that you do not end the round during this. So either I like to keep 3 or 4 zombies behind me so that the round does not flip, but you want to repeat this for all of your shield charges or as many as you have. In solo, it normally takes around 5 with a good couple of seconds of keying him to get this done. Now, what this guy's going to do, his entire goal is to grab a spoon that he finds somewhere in the prison. He'll have a different route every single game and try to make it back to the new industries portal where he's going to find his victim and shank him with the spoon. Like, this is actually what this guy's up to. So what your job is to do is stop him by materializing him into the world and then getting him with the trap when he's close to his victim. What I want to do is just show you the most raw gameplay of completing this challenge because I just see so many people struggling with this, and I want to show it in its entire form, how I do it from start to finish. Now, a couple of more pointers that you can do if you're still struggling with this step, even though you've been kind of employing these tactics, is use some elixirs, some ones that are amazing. If you happen to get yourself caught mid-round, say a round flips while you're in the recreation yard, that's literally worst case scenario. If you have the elixir Undead Man Walking, this can significantly slow down all the zombies, making a clear path and making it easy for you to regain shield charges and continue to shock him. So either way, you got to do it. Once you shock him fully and he's ready, he'll kind of change position here. He'll be fully materialized and very, very red, and he'll kind of put his spoon in a more aggressive manner. That's how you know he's ready. So once he approaches the new industry section, you just got to wait on him. You see his victim standing there over there in the corner. Run the trap when he's getting close to it, and then he should die to the trap if done right. Now, make sure that he's very, very, like, done before you even decide to run the trap, because if you do it too early, he's going to walk straight through it, and then he'll get to his victim, and that's not what you want to have happen. But if you've successfully done that, then congratulations. You literally have completed the hardest challenge in this entire Easter egg. The boss fight does not even compare. In fact, I think that the boss fight is one of the easier sections of this. Like, it's an absolute meme. So what I'm saying is, if you can handle this challenge, you can handle any other challenge, and including the boss fight, anything that this map has to throw at you. So it turns out after I did all the challenges and was setting up the last step for the boss fight about to go in, my game literally blue screened so hard that I had to completely unplug my PS4. The power button wouldn't work. I don't know what it did to my console, but I had to unplug the system and plug it back in to even get it to respawn. Very, very weird, but blue screens are still a problem, especially if you're on the last step about to enter the boss fight while playing solo. It seems to be a little bit of an issue, so be careful with that. So I quickly recorded the boss fight with a co-op game. Now, it's honestly the exact same in solo, and let me also bust a myth while I'm here. You do not need to play as Richtofen while you're playing solo. If you're not the character, the game will give you a bot while you're in the boss fight, so just keep that in mind. You don't need to necessarily have Richtofen. So now you have all the orbs. Go back to the warden's house and hold square on his chest right here. It will put the summoning key in, and you'll get a cutscene.
The same as it has done before. As for the everything will be wunderbar.
The day has arrived. Late.
This cannot be. All that we have done.
You belong to me.
So from this point forward, this is where you now get ready for the boss fight. But before you do that, you find yourself locked in a cell, and Brutus is going to go around and give this sort of monologue explaining the entire story of this map. It's actually really, really interesting if you're into that kind of thing. He'll explain why he's there, why he keeps coming back, all this stuff, and how the cycle kind of perpetuates itself. But that's story stuff. If you are more interested in that, then you can find some videos explaining the entire story. But once Brutus leaves, he's done with the speech, our boy Al, the bird, is going to come and rescue us, open our cells, and now we can escape. So our guns are going to be inside of this bag right here. You can grab all of your equipment, you'll get your perks back, your elixirs, everything that you had before that cutscene started. And now what your job is to do is follow the bird. Al is going to lead you out of the prison to try to escape. He's going to bring you all the way back towards spawn, and your job is just strictly to follow him, and he is going to hold off the warden for as long as possible while you run back. Now at this point you should really only have dogs spawning, but they're going to be pretty frequent trying to stop you, so just kind of be cautious for that. Something that you should keep in mind is that you don't really get any time to set up before the boss fight, so this is really about it, honestly. The Warden is going to transform into the Super Warden, and then the 3 other souls that we know, Finn, Billy, and Sal, are going to come out and help the Weasel in kind of holding off the Warden for us, and they're going to take him away momentarily so we can get through into Richtofen's laboratory. And once the Warden leaves, he will leave behind another red orb. So that will be the final orb that you need for the map, and once you place that inside of the laboratory, it is going to reveal a secret room, revealing another cryopod that we didn't previously see at first inside of the laboratory. That's going to burn away, and then it will open up. Now also another second room will open up, giving you access to the boss fight arena. So when you're preparing for this boss fight, honestly, if you're soul, it's really not that hard at all. This is very, very easy by yourself. The trick is to get there without your game crashing, but when you get there you find yourself inside the boss fight, I'm just going to explain how this works and its basic concept, because it's really not that difficult. But you'll find yourself in this room with this arena where you have a, generous amount of space with the dark machine in the middle of the room. And your only job is to make sure that your shield stays alive, right? That's all you need to do and worry about. Make sure you have a couple charges on it. If you have the upgraded one, then you'll be able to hold a total of 4, which will be more than enough for doing this boss fight. It's just another one of those things where you'll also get carpenters during the boss fight to keep your shield repaired, which is super nice. So it's really like a not very difficult sort of boss fight. It just takes a little bit of time. Stay alive until you see a sequence happen. This is going to happen a few times, and I'll show you exactly how to handle it. Now, the Warden is eventually going to spawn in and bring you this red orb that you need to get inside. This is basically a safe zone, and 3 of these spheres are going to align him, giving him energy. You just want to break them, and as soon as you've done that, you turn to the dark machine, shoot the white orb that's on top of the machine with a shield blast, and that's it. Literally rinse and repeat just a couple of times until Richtofen is ready to enter the dark machine. If you're playing by yourself and you're Richtofen, then it will be you. If you're not playing as Richtofen, then it will spawn in a bot to enter the machine for you. So either way, you'll be fine. After you've went and done that process a couple of times, Richtofen is going to give you a prompt wanting to enter the dark mechanism. And again, if it's just you as Richtofen, then all you need to do is step into the machine. So what's going to happen is once you get into the dark mechanism, a cutscene is going to play, and you are actually going to switch characters to, you guessed it, you may or may not have seen this coming, but post-Revelations Richtofen steps out of the cryopod that we had a little bit earlier. We don't know how he got there, why he's there, anything like that. I don't think that's been explained, but post-Revelations Richtofen comes out of this secret chamber that nobody had any idea about, and he's here to save the day. Now, all you got to do from here is take yourself outside. You honestly, you can feel free to walk around inside of the laboratory for a little bit. There's nothing you can interact with as far as I'm aware as post-Revelations Richtofen, but it is kind of cool to be able to see and play as him and stuff like that. But when you're ready, go and enter the door that you did originally for the boss fight, and Richtofen is going to end it all and complete the Easter egg. And all the zombies are going to die out, and congratulations, you have beat this Easter egg on solo on Blood of the Dead. It is absolutely insane. Now, I cannot show most of the cutscene on this video because, believe it or not, the cutscene gets demonetized because of how somewhat graphic it is, and I guess I can understand that, but I think it's a little weird. But anyways, that is how you do the Blood Dead Easter egg on solo. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please make sure to leave a like rating, as it would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you made it to the very end, let me know in the comment section by just putting Mad Lads in the comments. That's it. Just put Mad Lads, because I'll be able to see who was the most dedicated for this video. But thank you guys for watching again. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Take it easy, guys, and peace out.